What a game. The Indiana Fever snap the New York Liberty's undefeated streak.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever.
The WNBA might have just pulled the dumbest move in sports history. Right after Caitlin Clark came back from injury and dropped 32 points on the defending champs, boom, someone in a suit ordered another drug test. That makes it 11 times this season. Seriously? The internet went wild, and not in a good way. The memes, savage, the outrage, nonstop. Now the league's stuck in a storm they clearly didn't expect. But here's the real question. Is the WNBA quietly trying to tear down its biggest star? Or are they just this clueless?
I'm going to say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now. It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling with playmaking, struggling with pacing, struggling with the things that make us want to watch. And she steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made...
Let's break down the facts. Because they're so insane, you'd think they're fake. Caitlin Clark comes back after missing 5 games, drops 32 points on the defending champs, snaps New York's undefeated streak, and leads her team to a huge win. Her reward? A drug test. Again, that's number 11 this season. To put it in perspective, most WNBA players get tested 3 times all year. Once in the offseason, that's it. So why is Clark being treated like this? Something's off.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible up.
The WNBA office saw Caitlin Clark's stat line, 32 points after 5 games out, and thought, yeah, that's got to be drugs. Because clearly, talent, hard work, and elite skill couldn't possibly explain it. Nope, it had to be something illegal. Social media didn't hold back. One fan joked, she tested positive for goat blood, which honestly feels like the most accurate test result in sports history. Another added, while we're at it, someone should drug test Scott Foster. And let's be real, that might be the most logical WNBA take we've heard all season. But the best comment? Someone said they should have run a DNA test instead, to check if Caitlin Clark's even human. Because honestly, what she did against the Liberty felt supernatural. 3 threes in 38 seconds to start the game? That's not normal. That's straight-up video game energy. And the timing couldn't be worse or more embarrassing. Clark misses 5 games with a quad injury, comes back against the top team, and instantly reminds everyone why she is women's basketball. Her return wasn't just solid, it was historic. The Fever hit 17 threes, a franchise record. Clark looked like she never left. Fans were hyped. The whole basketball world took notice. And the league's response? Better test her. It's a terrible look, like turning the Titanic crash into just a slight steering issue. You've got the biggest star in the game, the one player who brought in new fans and boosted ratings, and you treat her like she's guilty of something. The WNBA calls their testing random, but 11 times in one season? That's not random. That's starting to feel like targeting. Other players get tested 3 times, maybe 4. Clark, she's apparently getting the deluxe package, with post-game prove your clean cups after every clutch night.
Keep it down! Go, go, go! Yeah! Good job.
No, we can.
Whew, good job. Squad needed it. Played Fever way. I love it. More of them.
Let's talk about what actually went down in that Liberty game. Because Clark's performance was so unreal, it apparently triggered a drug test. She came out blazing from the opening tip. 3 logo threes in the first quarter. Brianna Stewart gave her 5 feet of space and still watched the ball splash in. That's not chemicals. That's skill and cold-blooded confidence, the kind only real stars have. But it wasn't just the points. Clark ran the whole offense like a maestro, creating shots, setting teammates up, and making the defending champs look basic on their home floor. Watch the tape. This wasn't some lucky hot streak. This was a masterclass. She sat 5 games, studied the best team in the league, and came back to dismantle them like she had the cheat codes. And what does the WNBA do? Instead of celebrating the moment, someone decides it needs to be investigated. Because God forbid their biggest star is actually that good. There has to be some other reason, right? Not talent, not IQ, not pure work ethic. It must be something suspicious. Fans weren't buying it. One nailed it. The WNBA can't believe they finally got a good player. And honestly, that's the vibe. The league is so used to not having a true superstar, they don't even know what to do when one shows up. One fan nailed it with this brutal gem. Clark gets drug tested more than Angel Reese scores points. It's savage, and somehow mathematically true right now. The comparisons? Endless. And every single one just makes the league look more ridiculous. At this point, it's like a running joke. Drop 12 assists, must be doping. Hit logo threes, clearly suspicious. Make your whole team better just by stepping on the court. Better get the cup ready. The WNBA's basically created a system where being great automatically triggers an investigation. Excellence isn't rewarded. It's treated like a red flag.
Congrats on your great performance.
Thanks.
Just want to let you know you have a huge fan base in Hong Kong.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
hopefully I'll get there one day.
And today, there are 5 Hong Kong fans fly from Hong Kong to
No way.
And,
Oh my gosh.
And the hour is 22 hours.
No
Your
way.
number.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wish I could have
just
met
want to say
them.
this, including me.
If you know them, tell them thank you for coming. That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah, so any plans you will visit Hong Kong with your teams in the future years?
Yeah, maybe we'll head to Hong Kong after the season. I mean, I certainly hope to go to Hong Kong one day. It's incredible to see the type of reach that we can have and how much people love basketball across the globe. So that's really cool. So if you know them, tell them I say hello and thanks for coming as well.
Yeah, thank you. Hope one day to show you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's what makes all this even more insane. Caitlin Clark's dominance isn't new. This isn't some sudden breakout that justifies suspicion. She's been doing this since college. Deep threes, no-look dimes, court vision that doesn't even make sense. This is who she's always been. Anyone who's watched her knows this isn't surprising. This is normal Clark when she's healthy. But after that Liberty game, the league's response felt like they either don't understand their own star or don't want to believe she's really this good. And honestly, neither option is a good look. That game wasn't some fluke. It was Clark coming back and reminding everyone that when she's out there, the Fever are a whole different team. The offense flows, teammates get better shots, and suddenly they're toe-to-toe with the champs. Instead of hyping that up, the league gives her a cup and says, "Prove it." Social media went off. Some fans are now seriously suggesting the WNBA is out here sabotaging its own product. Because when your biggest star drops a performance that should have been a league-wide celebration, and you answer with a drug test, you clearly don't know how to run a pro league. Look at other sports. When Steph Curry drops 9 threes, the NBA puts him all over TV. When an NFL quarterback throws for 400 yards, they hype the highlights. But in the WNBA, they grab a test kit and act like something shady happened. One fan said it best. Clark's been tested more times than she's been properly promoted. And that hits hard. Because it's true. You've got a once-in-a-generation player, bringing in fans, views, and headlines. And your response is suspicion, not celebration. And the timing makes it even worse. Clark's return was appointment viewing. Fans tuned in just to see how she'd come back. And she over-delivered. Viral clips, game-changing plays. Everything the league says it wants. And then, we find out she got tested again. Sure, the WNBA says it's random, but how random is it when it keeps happening right after she dominates? It doesn't look like protocol anymore. It looks like a pattern. And that pattern feels a lot like targeting their own superstar. The wildest part? Clark's success should be the WNBA's biggest win. She draws crowds, sells out arenas, boosts ratings, moves merch, and puts women's basketball everywhere. But instead of building their marketing plan around her, they're building the drug test calendar around her game nights. The irony writes itself. Fans aren't confused, they're furious. Because when your own audience starts mocking how you treat your biggest star, you've already lost the plot. When drug test jokes get more clicks than highlight reels, your priorities are officially upside down. Social media has been ruthless. People are cracking jokes about testing for talent, asking why other players aren't getting tested. Maybe to figure out why they can't play like Clark? And honestly, the comedy has been relentless. But underneath the laughs is a serious problem. The league's in the middle of contract negotiations, trying to push better salaries and conditions. And now, the public sees their biggest moneymaker getting drug tested every time she dominates. It's a horrible look. The timing just makes it worse. Clark drops a monster game. Boom, here comes the test. The message? Success equals suspicion. And that's the last message you want future stars to see. Meanwhile, the internet keeps turning this into gold. Some fans joked she should ask to see other players' test results. Others said the league must be testing her to find out what talent even looks like. And one comment nailed it. Clark's been tested more often than some players even touch the court. Here's the truth no one in the league office wants to admit. When fans joked that Clark's been tested more than most players even play, they weren't just being funny. They were exposing the ugly truth. That one line, as hilarious as it sounds, highlights the WNBA's biggest embarrassment. Caitlin Clark is so far ahead of the rest of the league that her greatness looks suspicious, not because she's cheating, but because so many others just aren't on her level. And instead of owning up to that gap, the league's response is to keep drug testing her like she's the problem. That's not just bad judgment, that's a full-on leadership failure, a complete misunderstanding of how to treat the one person who's actually saving the league from total irrelevance. Think about this. Clark isn't just a good player. She's the only reason millions of people even know the WNBA exists. She's the reason tickets sell, highlights go viral, and merch moves. And how do they thank her? By treating her like a cheater, like someone who needs to be checked, instead of someone who needs to be protected. Let's call it what it really is: disrespect. Disrespect to her legacy, her talent, and everything she's doing for the sport. And let's not ignore the deeper message being sent here. If your best player gets tested after every dominant game, you're basically telling the world, yeah, we don't believe anyone could actually be this good. So which is it? WNBA? Do you think Caitlin's using something illegal? Or are you quietly admitting that the rest of your league isn't even close? Either way, it's a terrible look, and fans see right through it. Scroll through the comments, and you'll find outrage after outrage. People calling out the WNBA's leadership, mocking their priorities, questioning if they even know how professional sports work. Because in every other major league, NBA, NFL, MLB, you know what they do when a superstar shows out? They celebrate, they promote, they build around them. They don't drag them into a bathroom with a test kit after every highlight performance. But the WNBA, they're out here treating Clark like a liability, like a threat, like someone who's too good to be trusted. It's embarrassing, not just for the people in charge, but for the entire league. This isn't about one drug test. It's about what that test symbolizes: a league that's afraid of its own star, a system that doesn't know how to handle excellence, and a fan base that's quickly losing patience. Because when everyone, players, fans, media, is laughing at your decisions and dragging your brand through the mud, you've officially lost the locker room and the internet. This whole situation, it's not just unfair, it's unprofessional, it's ungrateful, and it proves one brutal point. The WNBA might have finally found a superstar, but they clearly have no idea what to do with her. At this point, the drug testing isn't just a protocol anymore. It's a giant flashing sign that says the WNBA doesn't know what to do with greatness. Instead of lifting up their biggest star, they're tearing her down, again and again, in plain sight. Let's break down just how insane this actually is. Caitlin Clark has been tested 11 times this season. The league standard? 3. Do the math. She's getting tested almost 4 times more than anyone else. That's not random. That's not a coincidence. That's a witch hunt. And calling it anything else is straight up insulting people's intelligence, because the chances of this being purely random, they're lower than most players' three-point percentages. You don't need a calculator, just common sense. This isn't a safety protocol. This is targeted harassment with a clipboard and a lab cup. And what triggered the latest test? Oh, just Caitlin returning from injury and putting on a clinic against the defending champions. She looked like she hadn't missed a single day. Her shot? Flawless. Her timing? Dead on. Her court vision? Like she was playing chess while everyone else was stuck on checkers. This is what fans dream of seeing. This is what sells out arenas. And the league's reaction? Yeah, let's test her again. She's too good. You've got to be kidding me. And what makes it worse, way worse, is the context. Clark wasn't out partying or skipping team practices. She was sidelined with a legit injury, working day and night with doctors and trainers to make sure she came back healthy and strong. So to even suggest that she needed help from banned substances isn't just offensive to her. It's a slap in the face to every medical professional who worked to get her back on the court. That's the part no one's talking about. It's not just Caitlin being disrespected. It's the entire process of recovery, the entire support system being treated like a sham. And fans? They've gone from shocked to savage. Social media is now a full-on roast session for the WNBA. People aren't just angry. They're clowning the league so hard that phrases like performance-enhancing basketball talent are literally trending online. You've got fans making memes, jokes about Clark drinking GOAT milk, and sarcastic suggestions that the league start testing for too much hustle. At this point, the WNBA isn't just losing control of the narrative. They've turned it into a joke, and the entire internet is in on it. So now the question is, how much longer before the league realizes they're destroying their biggest asset? One test at a time? You know the league messed up when fans start joking that Caitlin Clark must be taking illegal doses of Court Vision supplements. And honestly, that's not even the wildest thing people are saying. The creativity in these roast sessions is proof of just how universally dumb this whole thing looks. This isn't just one bad decision. This is a masterclass in how to embarrass your entire league. While Clark's getting swabbed and poked for playing too well, other players are out there bricking layups, turning the ball over like it's a giveaway night. And nobody bats an eye. No tests, no suspicion. Just, she'll get him next time. You see the problem, right? Success equals suspicion. Mediocrity equals business as usual. That's the exact opposite message any real sports league should ever send. And it gets worse. Clark just said fans flew in all the way from Hong Kong to watch her play. That's global reach. That's next-level impact. But instead of celebrating that international attention, the headlines these fans get to see? WNBA drug tests Clark after she dominates Liberty. Congratulations, league office. You just made the WNBA look like a joke on a world stage. This should have been a win. Clark returns from injury. She drops a performance so good, it should have been front-page news everywhere. And what do? Turn the whole thing into a PR disaster. They took the best story of the week and flushed it down the drug test toilet. But here's where it really gets dangerous. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. This is about what message you're sending to the next generation. You want to be great? You want to work your butt off, dominate games, break records? Cool. But get ready. Because if you succeed too much, the league might treat you like a criminal instead of a champion. That's terrifying, especially for the young girls who've bought Clark's jersey, begged their parents for game tickets, and started watching WNBA games because of her. She is the gateway. She's the reason casual fans are turning into diehards. And now those same fans are watching the league treat her like she's guilty for being amazing. Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark didn't just put the WNBA on the map, she lit it on fire. And instead of fanning the flames of success, the league's out here trying to put them out with urine cups. It's not just a missed opportunity, it's a warning sign that the WNBA still doesn't understand what it's sitting on. A generational star, a global icon. And instead of protecting her, they're investigating her. That's not just tone deaf, that's self-sabotage. When a league starts treating its biggest star like a suspect instead of a savior, you know something is deeply broken. Caitlin Clark didn't just have a good game. She gave fans the exact kind of performance that made her a national icon. And what did she get in return? Another drug test, another subtle message that said, hey, you're too good to be real. That doesn't just sting. That's a full-blown betrayal of every fan who bought a ticket, a jersey, or tuned in just to watch her play. Think about the locker room. Imagine being the coach trying to keep a team focused when your best player is being treated like a criminal every time she lights up the scoreboard. That kind of constant suspicion eats away at chemistry, trust, and mental focus. It's not just unfair, it's toxic. Now zoom out to the business side. Clark is the reason ratings are up. She's the reason seats are filling, jerseys are flying off shelves, and national media is finally saying the WNBA's name. And what does the league do with that momentum? They investigate their own success. They'll pay consultants millions to grow the brand, but apparently haven't figured out that harassing the one player actually doing that job for them isn't the best strategy. Even sports journalists, people who are usually scared to take sides, are publicly dragging the WNBA over this. When neutral media starts calling out your leadership, you haven't just lost control of the narrative. You've started writing your own downfall. And let's not ignore the bigger issue here. If they can target Clark for being too good, what's stopping them from going after anyone? That's a scary precedent. It's not just disrespectful to Clark, it threatens every single player in the league. The timing makes it worse. Women's sports have fought for respect for decades. The WNBA finally gets a generational talent who brings real mainstream credibility, and they respond by doubting whether she's legit. That's not just self-sabotage. That's burning down your own house. And let's be real. If there was something shady going on with Clark, opposing coaches would be demanding investigations. But they're not. They're out here in press conferences admitting she's hard to guard because they recognize greatness. They see skill, not scandal. The fans, they've chosen a side, and it's not the league's. There's now a full-on civil war between the people who love Clark and the suits who keep trying to undermine her rise. When social media is flooded with drug test memes instead of game highlights, you've officially lost the plot. We should be talking about Clark's development, her growing chemistry with teammates, how she's elevating the Fever to contender status. Instead, we're breaking down how many times she had to pee in a cup. Let that sink in. The WNBA begged for a spotlight. Clark gave it to them. And they responded by dimming it themselves. That's not just a mistake. That's a full-blown identity crisis. When excellence triggers suspicion, when leadership punishes success, when your biggest win becomes your biggest scandal, you're not running a professional league. You're running a circus, and the fans, they've had enough. So what's your take? Did the WNBA completely drop the ball here? Is this just protocol or targeted harassment hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be heard. And if you think the league owes Clark a massive apology, smash that like button. Hit subscribe and ring the bell. Because in this league, the drama never takes a timeout. More truth bombs are coming, and you don't want to miss what's next.